Hey, this is Kyle with Rants and Reels. So this is a special part 2 for Thor Ragnarok. I'm going to see this again in IMAX 3D. Now, I'm also going to see this again because I'm still undecided about a couple things with this movie. Yeah, it was, if you watched my part 1, yeah, I was thoroughly entertained. Yeah, it was highly enjoyable. But there's more to it. There's more to it than that. So I need to get past. I need to get past the shiny, the stuff that popped out at me, and the stuff I'm, really liking as a fan, and look at this a little more critically. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm going to go see this movie again, and I'm going to try to formulate some more thoughts and opinions about this, and I'll be back in a minute. So round 2 of Thor Ragnarok, and I think I've nailed down the things that I can't really say bothered me, but the things that were kind of pecking at the back of my head there, that didn't quite land home, things that I didn't feel quite fit or worked. So, and I think I've nailed down kind of what those are. Again, this is round 2. So this is the second time I saw it. This time IMAX 3D. That added, a little bit to it. It was kind of nice, but overall it didn't add a significant amount to the film. So yeah, if you like things big and kind of flashy, go for the IMAX 3D, but it's not really going to impact your viewing experience, your what you're going to take away from this film. So just right out of the gate, the things that bothered me, first off, too funny. That's odd for me to say, really, but really that's what it was. There was, just a touch too much humor. Now, it was funny. All of it was funny, but there were moments and times in the story that the joke itself didn't quite fit. Either the joke itself didn't land, or it didn't match the tone and feel of the scene itself. One point I'll make on that is the Thor character, I feel, was a little inconsistent, a little incongruous at parts. Times where his reaction may not have quite matched the gravity of the situation, so it didn't quite fit with the previous versions of this character that we've seen, where he's been a little more serious, a little more deadpan, much more the straight man, so to speak. He was a lot more lively, a lot more upbeat, cracking jokes, and they like I said, the jokes were funny. It was funny, and there were genuine laughs in the audience, even from me. But it didn't quite fit. I enjoyed it, but it didn't fit. It wasn't a perfect fit for the character. Other things, Jeff Goldblum is entertaining, but again, he kind of took me out of the film because he was too much. Too much Goldblum is a bad thing sometimes. Still funny, still enjoyable, amusing, but it does get old pretty quick. There was that, and that's really, I think, the big thing where when you're trying to make directorial decisions about how to play a scene, you always have the choice of, do you play to the joke, or do you play to the gravity of the situation, the serious. Is this a serious scene or is this a funny scene? And more often than not, with this one, they went for, let's crack a joke, which works at a certain level. If you look at this as just a comedy, then it's fantastic comedy. If you look at it as, the superhero action film, yeah, it works as the, superhero action film, but it doesn't quite mesh with the previous appearances of these characters that we've already seen. So that I felt was slightly off. So it was just a little bit off, but everything's kind of forgivable if it's entertaining, if it's engaging and enjoyable, and this was. So really, I can kind of brush those aside. So I'm really gonna say it was almost a perfect movie. And that's just hyperbolic, because there's really, no such thing as a perfect movie. Every film has issues and problems at some level with some things. So you have to be, you have to forgive a little bit. I still say this is, right around the, 85, 90% mark, 4.5 out of 5, or 4 out of 5, 7 or 8 out of 10, however you grade it. I'm still working on my full review. I wanted to wait for the second viewing to really make sure I wasn't judging things too harshly or misinterpreting something. So, because I was having a hard time nailing this one down, and I was lucky enough, because I usually don't have the opportunity to go for, a second viewing to make sure I'm getting it right, or that I saw things, or understanding things the right way. Which is an interesting thing to say, because this is all subjective, isn't it? But objectively, it's still very good. It's still extremely entertaining. And I'm going to enjoy watching this one repeatedly. There are so many just those moments in film that you can just watch over and over again that are just fantastic. The Wonder Woman No Man's Land scene. It's just beautiful, and you can watch it over and over and over again. There are some of those scenes and some of those action sequences in Thor Ragnarok that really I could just watch over and over again, because it is engaging, it's visually engrossing, and to get to the parts of this movie that are really, really worth it, there are moments where it's, things jar and they move. The pacing in a couple scenes is not quite right. And I really do I get the feeling, I had mentioned, and I was talking to my friend Caitlin, who I saw this with on the first round, that I feel like there's a lot that got cut out. The first cut of the film, I imagine, was probably like 3 hours long, and they had to cut out quite a bit to speed up pacing, tighten up the story, but I think that sacrificed a few things. So there were definite sacrifices, I feel. And my friend Charles from the Nerd Store, the Nerd Dome podcast, that I saw this with tonight, I was discussing this with him walking out of the theater, and he helped me kind of nail down some inconsistencies with the characters, things that didn't quite fit right. But hey, we're gonna have it on record. He finally has a Thor movie that he enjoys. I still think he's wrong for those first two, but that's just me. So those are my round 2 thoughts, and I could really get into more detail, more specifics, but I would really hate to drop or slip any spoilers. I really hate. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. It is a good movie, and any of the problems, issues that I have seen with this are really not going to detract from the film as a whole. So be sure to check out the full review down in the video description if you haven't already. If you haven't already seen the first part of this where I just kind of gushed about how much I liked it, go please check that out. Thanks for watching, thanks for riding along with me, and thanks Watch Play Read for sponsoring, and I'll see you guys next time.